Hi everyone, my name is Robert with blindfoldedsite.com. Today we're going to be talking about Qi and the science of Qi. I'm going to be reading an entire paper about feeling Qi and science of breathing, ATP. It goes into glucose and water production, free radicals, how and why Chinese cultures and traditions have been able to generate energy and what we're kind of linking it towards, this internal energy, and how we're finding ways to measure it. They found when these practitioners would do their energy abilities, they found a lowering of ATP levels after, and doing these specific movement and breathing exercises. You're able to increase your ATP levels, as well as other things like proper health, eating the right food, getting enough iron, getting enough B vitamins. B vitamins are very important as they act for an important stage in the process. There's many steps. This video doesn't go over all the steps, but it goes over the science linking Qi to, science and chemistry, and it's very amazing, and I really want you to pay attention, and I really hope that you enjoy this. I thought it needs to come out. I don't know if there's a video of it, but there needs to be, because this should be common knowledge, and we should all be aware of our vital life force and how to increase it and improve it, because it opens the doors to many amazing things, especially what I teach, which is Blindfolded Sight. So check that out, go to my website. But first, watch this video, hit like, hit subscribe. I'm always sharing incredible information to hopefully enlighten the world and make us all superhumans. I really want to, create a magical place, live in Shambhala times, because so many things are possible that a lot of us don't even believe. And here's one resource that kind of links that. So let's check it out. So this paper is by Roger Jank, OMD. It's about oxygen metabolism throughout the body. This is from a reference from a website called Feeling the Qi, your resource guide to Qigong, Tai Chi, self-healing, and more. So we're going to start. I'm going to read this in its entirety without any comments, and I hope you enjoy. The human system will begin to disorganize and die after several minutes without oxygen. It is a logical progression of thought that leads to the possibility that altering oxygen metabolism might be a curative for disease that have an oxygen deficiency component to their etiology. Both moderate and vigorous body movement and the accompanying muscle work increase oxygen demand in the cells. Evidence from research in excessive physiology demonstrates that muscular activity accelerates the rate of oxygen uptake from the blood. It has been shown that training and practice increase voluntary threshold, anaerobic threshold, and mechanical efficiency. This suggests that the regular body movement with increased breath activity supports the adaptation towards increased functional efficiency in the uptake and utilization of oxygen from the blood. One early source in 1896 suggests that the muscular activity of the breath mechanism itself is enough to increase the uptake of oxygen from the blood. This is not a widely accepted idea. However, most traditional systems of medicine include elaborate methods of breath practice. Some exploration of this mechanism for the absorption and utilization of oxygen is being undertaken. A recent animal study demonstrates that the movement of the breathing apparatus alone may generate oxygen demand. Both Qigong, Yoga Pranayama include breath practices where there is no body movement except of the breathing apparatus itself. Such research suggests that simple breathing techniques alone may increase the amount of oxygen absorbed from the blood. Individuals who are restricted in their movement due to health problems have access to some of the benefits that have traditionally been reserved for those who do vigorous exercise. Certain dynamic active moving, qigong, and yoga methods increase the oxygen uptake by virtue of greater requirement of chemical energy by the cells. Other more quiescent, inactive, still methods tend to decrease oxygen uptake due to the lowering of metabolic activity. It has been found that some practitioners of these traditional practices have refined their ability to the point where they actually enter into altered states where the physiological need for food, air, or sleep have been almost completely suspended. The Framingham study on the risk factors of cardiac disease, completed in 1970 by the National Heart and Lung Institute, found that the decreased vital respiratory capacity, breath volume, in relation to tissue uptake, was directly associated with increased mortality. In Australia, an extensive 13-year study completed in 1983, which measured similar parameters of long life, demonstrated that the respiratory capacity was a powerful determining variable, more significant in predicting longevity than tobacco use, insulin metabolism, or cholesterol levels. Recently, there has been a tremendous amount of activity in both research and clinical practice which suggests that many deficiency disorders and degenerative diseases are at least partially attributed to oxygen metabolism dysfunction, oxygen deficiency, or hypoxia. This view is supported by many of the great names in research: Albert Stent, Georgi, Otto Warburg, Emmanuel Revici, and Linus Pauling. The Asian systems of self-applied health maintenance like Qigong and Yoga Pranayama proposed this view and developed specific methods for application centuries ago. The practice of Qigong and Yoga increase oxygen availability, which potentially, number 1, supports energy, ATP, AMP, ADP generation. Number 2, generates water as a byproduct of energy metabolism, which contributes a major portion to the lymph supply. Number 3, enhances immune function. Number 4, supports the body's ability to neutralize free radicals. Number 1, energy generation. It has been well established that the energy necessary for cell work and body heat regulation is supplied through the reaction of oxygen and glucose from high-energy phosphate bonds. There is a direct relationship between oxygen demand, the impulse to breathe, and the basal metabolic rate, BMR, the rate that cells in the body consume oxygen and glucose to produce water, carbon dioxide, and energy. Hydrolysis of endosine triphosphate is accompanied by the release of a chemical energy for cellular and muscular activity. Preliminary research demonstrates that ATP may be an analog to one aspect of what the Chinese call qi, and what the Oriental Indians call prana, the vital force or life energy. The aspect of qi, that is the basic dynamic force of all vital function, is called Zen qi, genuine energy. A study presented in 1988 World Conference of the Academic Exchange of Medical Qigong revealed that blood ATP content increased with exercises which cultivated the qi. When the mysterious practice of qi emission was performed, the subject's ATP was found to have decreased. The simple methods of Qigong practice, movement, breath practice moderated with concentration, relaxation, and intention may bring a primary substrate of qi or prana production, namely oxygen, into the body's energy metabolism cycle. This chain of events is called the cycle of transformation of energy by the Chinese. It is likely, however, that this is only one of the components of the broad array of possible energetic mechanisms involved in acupuncture, Qigong, and other Oriental practices. In the West, we generally characterize ancient medicine as unscientific or even primitive. The Chinese formula for transformation of qi seems overly simplified. Gu qi, grain qi, the essence of life force or food, mixes with Kong qi or King qi, the natural air qi, the essence of life force of air to form Zen Qi, true Qi, or the life force of the body. Gu Qi plus Gong Qi equals Zen Qi. Energy of food plus energy of air equals body energy. However, this is the same basic formula disguised in the vocabulary of Western science that is used in modern physiology. Air plus food plus the BMR effect equals energy plus carbon dioxide and water. Oxygen plus glucose through BMR yields energy in the form of high-energy phosphate bonds, especially ATP, plus water, which dissolves carbon dioxide and facilitates the hydrolysis of energy yielding phosphate bonds. It seems that the Chinese knew, without a particularly refined scientific method, that only a portion of air and food, the essence, was employed in the process. Only 20% of air is oxygen, and glucose is approximately 60% of food. The Chinese knew about the circulation of blood approximately 2,000 years before William Harvey described it in 1616. They knew about the energy generation relationship of food and air 2,300 years before the elaboration of the Krebs cycle. The simplicity of the Chinese formula encourages the use of movement and breath as health-enhancing factors, while the complexity of the Western scientific formula tends to mask the importance of breath and makes the benefits of simple health practice less accessible to the average health seeker. Number 2. Water production. A second critical benefit of increased oxygen metabolism generated through the practice of moderated body movement and breathing exercise is linked to the lymph system. Besides the production of energy in the phosphorylation cycle, there is also the generation of pure water as a waste product or byproduct. This water is dramatically and directly increased when oxygen consumption is increased at the cell. Because the water becomes involved with the internal cleansing performed by the lymph, it is a major link between breath and the lymphatic system function. Number 3. Immune function. ATP drives the activity of every cell. Therefore, immune function as well as the production of immune resources, white blood cells, lymphocytes, T cells, killer cells, etc., are indirectly dependent on oxygen consumption. These activities become deficient in individuals who are unwell. It has been shown that exercise can metabolize the effect of the natural killer cells in individuals who exercise so vigorously that they exceed the aerobic levels and cross into anaerobic threshold. Immune function is decreased. Both suggest that oxygen deficiency leads to decreased immune function, and that moderate exercise increases immune function. In his research, Nobel Prize recipient Otto Warburg found that oxygen deficiency was typical of cancer cells. There are numerous studies that associate reduced oxygen intake with the increased mortality and reduced resistance to disease. In studies with elders, immunodeficiency was found to be one of several consequences of reduced oxygen metabolism. Oxygen's effect on the immune function has been demonstrated through research studies on 2 nutrients that have been shown to have immunomodulating capacity. Germanium, an element that bonds easily with oxygen, is thought to increase the efficiency of the use of oxygen in the mitochondria of the cell. In addition, it may help to decrease free radicals in the blood. In a German study, it was found that in elderly, injured, stressed, and hospitalized individuals, the arterial oxygen content is often reduced to normal levels. Administration of oxygen was found to alleviate the arterial oxygen content and increase recovery rates. The experimental addition of germanium to the treatment protocol increased oxygen utilization and further accelerated the healing process. Blood studies and patients with AIDS revealed, in addition to deficiency immune capacity, low concentrations of coenzymes Q10, a coenzyme present in all healthy cells. The patients were administered CoQ10, and the air symptoms as well as blood immune factors improved. CoQ10 apparently improves the ability of oxygen to produce ATP, Both germanium and CoQ10 enhance the ability of oxygen to support immune function, with the implication that increased oxygen through qigong or yoga pranayama may have a direct impact on immune deficiency states. Number 4, free radical balance. There are multiple factors that modify oxygen demand and uptake besides the cell work of the body movement and organ function. Such factors include the effects of chemical and environmental stress caused by foods, water, and airborne pollution. Emotional, relational, or career stressors, the stress of injury, and the stress of infection also affect the body's ability to absorb and utilize oxygen. Accumulation of these effects can negatively impact on the oxygen metabolism and precipitate function of imbalances in the human system. The normal activity of energy metabolism creates a certain number of byproducts. These molecules are called free radicals. When the impact of the above-mentioned stressors, greater amounts of free radicals are produced. All normal molecules have a paired electron on their outer electron orbits. Free radicals are unstable molecules with an unpaired electron on their outermost electron orbit. In an effort to return to a stable state, these renegade molecules steal an electron from healthy molecules, causing tissue damage and age. The body produces a number of antioxidant enzymes: superoxide, dismutase, catalase, glutathione, peroxidase, and methionine reductase, whose job it is to neutralize the free radicals produced in normal energy metabolism. However, in an imbalanced or unwell system, demand for antioxidants enzymes is high, and natural productivity due to pathology may be low. When slow, deep breathing and moderate body motion is activated, there is an increased demand for oxygen molecules, which are taken up from the blood. The potential for free radicals to bond with this available oxygen, neutralizing the free radical population, may be greatly accelerated when regular qigong or yoga pranayama is included in a person's healthy daily routine. There is a number of strategies for the resolution of oxygen deficiency diseases, which include the use of antioxidant nutrients, vitamins A, C, E, and selenium, antioxidant enzymes, coenzyme Q10, germanium, and germanium-bearing herbs, and hyperbaric oxygen. There is, however, nothing more available, inexpensive, and obvious than oxygen itself, taken in the maximum daily dose through moderate exercise and breathing exercises. Alright, that's the end of this article, this paper by Roger Jenke, OMD, from the Feel the Chi website. So what we've learned is this whole system, it combats stressors, it combats aging, it allows you to generate more energy through specific exercises, through certain breathing. There's slow breathing, fast exercise, slow exercise have different effects. But all of this inevitably leads to higher generation of energy, ATP, Qi. It's one of the measurable ways that we can kind of find Qi in the physical world, and how we can store, and storing Qi, what that actually is, and creating. I believe this also leads to, when you create those ATP molecules, it's got 3 phosphates on there, and they've got negative charges. So that phosphate molecule doesn't want to hold together at all. And eventually when it shoots off that final phosphate, there's that separation of the molecules. It becomes ADP, which ends up, through that process of shooting off that phosphate, and the breaking of those bonds creates a large amount of free energy, which is where a lot of that energy is released when the Qi practitioners use their Qi, and how these breathing and meditation and focus and heart methods, because as we notice, stress and free radicals get in the way of the body's ability to produce this energy. So we want to have a calm, and doing some heart work as well, feeling your own heart's magnetic field and growing that, and being aware and in tune, because all of that harmonizes the whole body's function. You can look at the bifurcation echo and There's other meditation methods which really bring the body into tune and allows for all of the function to happen at much higher levels than we're normally used to. And we want to be able to function higher. We want to be able to set our body up to be able to do all these things. That's why all of these practices are important. I highly recommend checking out my courses. I go into a lot of stuff that really helps with all of this. That's why I'm so deep into this knowledge and trying to teach people and trying to show people what energy is, how to cultivate energy, what is even possible with the energy that we cultivate. One of the things that I teach is blindfolded sight. One of the ways, through intuition, through feeling the chi and the energy of other objects, through building our own energy. I really recommend you check out my website, blindfoldedsite.com. Thank you for joining me on this reading of this medical paper, and I wish that you have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
And our growth is not in